Hello, welcome back to the Thrifty Suburbanite channel. Well, it's midsummer, heat wave, 100 degrees all last week, no rain, we're in the middle of a drought. As you can see, green where the sprinkler hits, brown where it doesn't. I don't care about the grass this time of year. I haven't mowed it for about a month. That's okay. As long as we have water for the garden and the vegetable side and the flower side, I'm good to go. Now for that, I've developed this cheap and easy way of making a sprinkler. PVC pipe, some fittings, some risers, and shrub heads for the actual sprinkler end of it. Connected to an extra piece of garden hose, you just screw it into your hose and away you go. I've got another one over here that I've made semi-permanent, attached it to the fence that surrounds the vegetable gardens, and I made a permanent riser that comes up from the ground. These things work very well. As you can see, this is like an oasis now. The birds are in here. They're eating my tomatoes, by the way. Next year I'm going to have to get some fencing or something to cover up the tomatoes. Cucumbers are going like crazy. Squash is going like crazy. We picked the green beans a couple times already. Another couple rows of green beans coming in. I stagger the planting dates on them. But today, let's talk about how to make one of these sprinklers. Let's go into the shop. I'll show you how to do it. Okay, now we're in the shop. I've taken a couple minutes to put together a model of what we're going to be making. It's all the same parts, but just the pipe is very short just to show you what the layout's going to be. So let's go over the parts. Start at the bottom. 3/4 inch threaded insert male adapter, 1/2 inch barb. This nomenclature is what you're going to use when you go to Lowe's to pick something like this up. It's not the same nomenclature all over, but they'll know what you're talking about. This is going to go and connect to a piece of hose with female hose adapter. This is just an extra piece of hose I had laying around the house. Very old. Actually, it's pretty durable though. It doesn't kink. It's a little bit stiff now, but that's okay. Don't forget your hose clamp. Going to need that. I'm not a fan of the plastic grip-on things that you screw together. I don't even know what they're called. They always come off. It always spins. So the hose clamp is much more effective in my estimation. 3/4 inch PVC pipe, schedule 40. I'm going to be using 10 feet overall today, 5 on each end. I've determined that because I've looked at the sprinkler spread and what head I'm going to use on these, and I've determined that that's the right length. You'll have to figure that out on your own by looking at what your sprinkler head says when you purchase it. Speaking of sprinkler heads, what we're going to be using today is a half round, 180 degrees. I want to be dry when I come up to the back of the sprinkler to shut it off or do something, adjust it, whatever. 360 is good if you're going to use it in a fixed place, like in the middle of a garden. You're just going to leave it there. These I like to move around the yard, put them in different gardens, so I use the 180 degrees, like I said, so I can come up behind them and move them. You also have an option of going to, I don't know why you would, but you have the option of going to a 1/4, 90-degree pattern. These heads are not readily available, the green housing, but the inserts are what we're going to be using today, threaded to a 1/2 inch on the back. If you're putting together a shrub sprinkler system, you may want this. I find no use for it. I just have them because I bought them someplace at a yard sale. You also have the option of using a fully round sprinkler, as I said before. Issue with that is it's got to be in a fixed place, or else every time you deal with it, you're going to get wet. These brass sprinkler heads are no longer available as far as I can see. My uncle sent me these from California when we put his first sprinkler system together in 1978. I have a whole bunch of them still. The ones we're going to be using today are 180 degree half circle. These come from Home Depot. I believe they're about $2.50 a piece. Going to be using cut off 1/2 inch risers that threads into the back of our sprinkler heads and threads down into the 1/2 inch pipe thread on the elbow. Okay, some of the tools we're going to need. Of course, you're going to need a marker. I love these Milwaukee markers. I think they're a lot better than everything else I've used. Hose end, female hose end with clamp again. I use these cut off handy cut Craftsman cutters. This is actually a razor blade that's installed in there. I use that for the hose, make a nice square even cut on the hose. These, same idea with the pipe. You clamp down on them, it cuts through the PVC pipe. All we're going to do is be making one cut in the middle. It's not a big deal. You can use a hacksaw. You can put it in your miter saw if you want. Just be careful because it's plastic and it has a way of shattering sometimes if you push down too hard. Of course, you're going to need a measuring tape to find the center. I always put the T adapters in the middle, figuring that it's going to even out the pressure. I don't know. It's just something I like. Plus, it gives it a nice steady stand because this here, when you put it up, the sprinkler heads up, it's going to want to roll. So when you put your hose up along in here, all it's going to do is give it some stability and support, and it's going to weigh it down here so this doesn't tip forward. We're also going to cut these risers off to the lowest part. That's how they're made. They have these break-off points to them. As you can see, we're going to take them all the way down. If you need them all the way up for some type of elevated, I don't know, sprinkler pattern or whatever, leave them. But I always take them off because they break in the middle anyway over time. That's the layout. One tool I didn't talk about, it's just a plain old heat gun, Harbor Freight, cheapo. I heat the garden hose up and it makes it a lot easier to put these hose ends in. Just got to be careful you don't overheat them because they'll melt and smoke, and you got to cut it off and do it over again. So let's get to it. There we go. Now we have two, 5 feet apiece. You may notice a couple different pieces on this than I originally showed. That's the problem with my camera. Lost a lot of footage, so now I'm going to just make another one that used to show you how to put it together. Okay, that's it for that. Sand it a little bit. Make sure you get all the burrs and all the raised areas of the plastic off so it seats correctly into the fitting. Oop, lost my hose. Make sure you don't have any flanges inside because that'll impede your water flow. It's all good. I mentioned before about a 90-degree angle with the different fittings. That's not going to take effect at this point. It doesn't really matter how we make this center piece that we're putting in right now. Primer. Might be a little noise in the background. I have a fan on. It's pretty warm in here again today. Hope it's not bothersome. Push it in, give it a turn. Hold it because it's going to want to press out on you. Don't have to hold it very long. and rotate. Sight down the line so you get approximately 90 degrees, and we're good. Hold it in so it doesn't push out. Good. And what they do with these risers is they give you places to cut them. The nut end of it is going to be what we screw into the end of the pipe. So what we're going to want to do is go up to this next area right here and cut. In this particular case, I'm going to be using a hacksaw. They give you a little bit of space there so when you cut you don't mess up the threads. There you go. Take our utility knife and clean this up a little bit. Go around the inside. And put them down. Screw them in and leave them loose. Okay, it's tight. This is the first sprinkler we made, the one where my camera didn't record the process. That's okay. We made another one, we got it on that, and the more the merrier. These things, people see them, they like them, I end up giving them away. I've made dozens of these things over the years. Not a problem. So this one here is a little bit longer, you'll notice, than the other one next to it. Reason is, the shorter one I plan on using full circle heads. And what that does, it cuts down the water pressure coming out of the head. The dispersion is not quite as great as these. Of course, they're putting out half as much water, and they're interfacing a lot more with the streams of water right down the center. I can feel it, both sides. I personally like the half circles. I don't use the full circle for much of anything anymore. I just made that, probably going to give it away to someone. Again, with these here, not a problem repairing them. If the pipe breaks, you run them over with the motorcycle like I've done before. You get a coupler, cut the ends even, slide them back together. You're good to go. Also, in the wintertime, put them up someplace and let the water drain out. If the water freezes in there, again, it's going to break. Sometimes in the spring, you'll use them and there's not anything coming out the ends. The bugs got in them. You have to put some compressed air in there, blow it out, or pick it out with a toothpick or something in there and then blow it out, or put water in and blow it out. Pretty simple, easy to use. I love them. That's it. Easy, simple, cheap projects. That's what I like. That's what we got here today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Thrifty Suburbanite signing off.